Hello everyone. Thank you for joining today. And today we are going to talk about a transformation with the Data Factory. And myself, Deeksha Sharma, and I am a Microsoft certified trainer and a senior consultant for a cloud architecture. I am a freelancer as well as delivering trainings also on the Microsoft domain. I am I have done a couple of certification, like I am a certified Azure Solution Architect Associate. I am a Microsoft certified data engineer and Microsoft certified DevOps engineer, as well as Azure Administrator Associate and DB admin side. Also, I have done the certification. Apart from that, some fundamental level of certification also I have completed. And my core skills are majorly on the ETL part or Azure platform like PaaS services, SaaS services, and data warehouse side, and on data engineering side. So today, let's start with the session. And today we are going to talk about Azure Data Factory. So we have the agenda for today where we are going to talk about like how data integration will work with Data Factory, and apart from that, your Synapse pipeline in the both side. Same how you can do code-free transformation with the help of Data Factory and Synapse. So now let's begin with the first topic. On that, we are going to talk about how data integration is going to work with Data Factory and Synapse pipeline. So first, let's understand what is Data Factory. Okay, what is Azure Data Factory? So as we know that Azure is a very very famous cloud platform that is provided from Microsoft side, and it has like a 200 plus different services. Okay, so if you are working as a data scientist, you are working as a data engineer, if you are working as a developer, or you are working as a security admin, security guy, or as an admin guy, so in that case you are going to deal with couple of different services. So here I am going to majorly focus as a data engineer, okay, and or as a data uh, side. What are the different services you are going to use? So one of them is your Data Factory. On that I'm going to majorly focus today. So Data Factory basically a service that we have available on Azure, and that is a dedicatedly a code-free ETL or ELT service. Okay, so Azure Data Factory is basically a code-free ETL or ELT service where you have a 90 plus connectors available. Okay, it means no matter your data is available on Azure itself, or maybe your data is available on some other platform itself, you can integrate your Data Factory while handling your data movement, data processing, okay, data transformation, and here you can onboard your data from cloud or from outside cloud also. Data Factory will support multi-cloud or hybrid model. And what is the meaning of hybrid model or multi-cloud model? Hybrid model, it could happen your data is already not available on Azure. It could be available outside Azure platform. Okay, it could be on premises or it could be in some other DB. So in that case, with the help of Data Factory, you can onboard your data from on-premises location or maybe outside Azure location to your Azure environment. And same here, you can build multi-cloud model as well. Multi-cloud means here it could happen your data is available on some other cloud platform, like it could be on some other cloud service provider, that is your source, and you want to move it to the Azure platform. So in that case, you can integrate, you can take the help of Data Factory also over here. Data Factory is basically platform as a service where you do not need to install or configure anything. You just need to go on the Azure portal and deploy your service. So it's a fully managed serverless data integration service where you can integrate with 90 plus connectors. 90 plus connectors means here you could have like data is available on different platform. Okay, so you have 90 plus different options that you can integrate with Data Factory. For example, if your data is available within storage on Azure, it could be on Google BigQuery, it could be on S3 bucket, or it could be on Oracle, it could be on SAP, it could be on Salesforce. So there could be 90 different connectors you have available that you can use for integrating your Azure platform. So Azure Data Factory is going to play a key role for data integration as well as data movement from one location to another location. In the market, there are a couple of different ETL tools available, and nowadays Azure Data Factory is keep growing on that. And here it is a maintenance free connectors you have available. So you do not need to worry about in the backend to configuring all this connector. You just need to provide the configuration, like the connection detail. What is your data connectors detail, like what is the credentials and all the details you are going to provide under your data factory. And at the end, you are going to build your whole jobs, whole pipeline on the data factory for doing your ETL or ELT. And the best part is you do not need to write down a code. Okay, so data factory is not a place where you are going to write down a code. So it will provide you a code-free ETL or ELT platform where you just need to drag and drop and put the services, do the configuration, and you can use that. Okay, so you can build your own initiative over here. So apart from that, here we have a couple of functions also available. As I mentioned earlier that yes, you can do ingestion from 90 plus different location. Okay, 90 plus different connectors we have available. You can build your multi-cloud and hybrid cloud model. Same here, you can pass some parameters and variables too. It's not like we are not writing a code, so it means we cannot do pass the parameter. We cannot work on a dynamic wise. Yes, you can do here. You can pass the parameters. You can pass the variables. You can run the loop also, and you can run the conditional also. Okay, but the best part, you do not need to write down the code. And here you can do different transformation also. We have a couple of different transformations are available in Data Factory. Like you want to do the joins, you want to do conditional split, you want to do pivot and pivot, you want to do create new columns, delete new column, modify your data type. These type of different transformation also you can do in the Data Factory. You can schedule also, like as we are dealing with the data, so it's not like your data is going to be received on a day. On one day you are going to complete that task. No, it could be a daily data. It could be multiple time you are getting your data in a day. Okay, so as per that, you have a 4 or 5 different type of scheduling options. That will be your manual triggers and your tumbling window, schedule trigger, custom event, and storage event triggers. These are the different type of scheduling options also you have available in Azure Data Factory. Next, we have a monitor. Yes, if you are designing some jobs, you are designing some pipelines, here you can do monitor also. If it's fail, you will get notified and you are going to receive an email and you are going to receive the notification. So you can keep a track, okay, which pipeline has succeeded, which pipeline has failed, what is the root cause, what is the failure message, everything. So you can do monitoring also within Azure Data Factory. So this is like a high level idea of the Data Factory. Now let's discuss some more detail about the Data Factory over here. So Data Factory will give you hybrid data integration model as well as multi-cloud, as I mentioned. So here, no matter you are dealing with relational data or non-relational data, okay, it could be your tables, it could be your structured data. So in that case, with the help of Data Factory, you can integrate your relational data also on Azure platform. Same if you are dealing with non-relational data, maybe you have a NoSQL data, that also you can use to integrate. You could deal with Oracle DB also, SQL DB also, MySQL DB also, data warehouse also. Same you can deal with big data, Spark, and Hadoop. Okay, and also you can deal with non-relational data also, that is your MongoDB, Cosmos DB, and Cassandra type of data. So it supports all the data to be handled, where you can integrate at the end your Data Factory with some BI tools. Okay, you can build like you can do some visualization, you can build your report dashboard. Okay, and on the same you can do further analysis as well. Like I want to run my machine learning workspace. Okay, I want to call it out, do some ML model also on that, so I can integrate with that. And yes, as I mentioned, we are not going to write down the ML code inside a Data Factory because it's a code free, but over here you are going to execute your code with the help of your Data Factory. Same here, you can write down any codes in any language. For example, I am writing down my code in some other services, like I have a Databricks. I can write down my code in different languages, supports PySpark. So here I can write down my language in my notebooks, my code in different languages, and I can execute it with the help of Data Factory. And yes, you can build cloud to cloud model, on-prem to cloud model. Okay, and you can set up, integrate with the virtual network also. And Data Factory is going to give you a fully managed data integration service in the cloud. where it will give you a complete flexibility for doing the data integration from different environment, from different connectors, from different locations. And same, it will give you hybrid model also. Okay, like the same as I mentioned, from on-prem to Azure environment, from on-prem to cloud, you can move also with the help of Data Factory. And yes, at the end, with the help of Data Factory itself, you are going to move your data at scale, and you can onboard that on Azure platform while maintaining all the security and compliance thing. So here, with the help of Data Factory, you can do data movement activities, you can do data transformation activity, as well as you can do data controls activity as well. So Azure Data Factory is a data-driven workflow where all these mentioned steps can be done by within one service, that is your Data Factory. You can do data ingestion, where you are going to ingest, where you are going to integrate your data from 90 plus different locations. You can prepare your data, where you are going to do data cleansing, data transformation, data refinement, okay, all these things here. And that you are going to do the data preparation. Then after that, you are going to analyze your data, you are going to transform your data, and then at the end, I'm going to publish my data to store somewhere in my DB or in my data warehouse. Okay, so that I can define that will be my source and this will be my destination. And at the end, I can integrate it with the some BI tool like Power BI that is going to consume my data and build some nice visual or create some dashboard and report on that. So Data Factory is a key tool over here as a data engineer if you are going to work. So let's understand what are the different key components we have available in Data Factory. So like the same way, if I'm talking about a Data Factory, same if you are going to build in the Synapse, that also going to be follow same components while building about the pipelines. So here the first component we have is your link service. In Data Factory, we have first component, that is your link service. And what is link service? So in the link service, you are going to define what is my source or what is my destination, from where I want to connect my Data Factory and where I want to move. So in this link service, I am going to define my source or my data store detail, the name of my service and the credentials. For example, here I want to connect with data lake storage. Data lake storage is a service or a storage service that is available on Azure platform itself. So you need to first build a link service where you are going to define your storage detail, because within your Azure you could have multiple storage account available. So how your Data Factory is going to understand that, okay, I need to pick up the data from this storage. So for that, first we are going to create a link service, and inside this link service I am going to refer, okay, my data lake storage, that is my source, I want to pick up. So this storage will belongs to this subscription, and under this subscription, this is my storage name, and I'm going to authenticate with the help of account key. So I'm going to provide all the detail like credentials of my service and name of my service. So all the related detail I'm going to build for data. Same, I want to connect my Data Factory for Databricks. Databricks is another service that we have available on Azure also. So here also I'm going to define, okay, I could have multiple Azure Databricks available. So what which Azure Databricks I want to connect with my Data Factory. So that I'm going to define. Inside this Databricks, what is my access token? Okay, that is for the credential I am going to pass. As a credential I am going to pass for authentication, because we are going to establish a secure connectivity between two different components. One is your Data Factory and another is your Databricks. So both should be able to communicate with each other with some keys, some authentication mechanism, some credentials. So that credential we are going to pass in the link service. So these credentials are going to be vary as per your different services. For example, if I want to connect with the SQL DB with my Data Factory, so here SQL DB server detail, database detail, username and password. These details I am going to pass under your link service. So if I do summarize, what is a link service? Link service is the place, link service is the component that we are going to use for specifying What is your service to whom you want to connect with the data factory? What is your source or what is your destination that you want to integrate it or you want to connect with your data factory? It could be different. It could be on Azure platform or it could be on different platform. So you are going to define your source, destination or service detail on your data factory under your link service. And next we have data set. So now over here in the link service, you specify that, okay, out of this 10 storage, I want to connect with one. And this is my storage detail. And this is the credential. But now within your storage, you could have multiple files available. You could have multiple containers available. You could have different files available with different format. So how your data factory is going to understand that I need to connect with which data set or with which file I need to pick up. So under this data set, I am going to specify exactly the location where my data is available. Inside this data lake, for example, I have 10 different containers. So I want to go to container number 2 and then I need to select my CSV file. So this CSV file, I am going to be defined under a dataset level that this is my CSV file name, this is the extension, this is the file format, and it is available under container 2. So all the details of the location and the file properties I am going to define under your dataset. So dataset is a component that we use for specifying the location of your data. It is going to point out to the location of your data. And then here, with the help of this link service, your data factory is going to authenticate and then it is going to we are going to refer the location with the help of dataset. Then your activity will come. What is activity? So activity is the task exactly that you want to perform with the help of your data factory. Like for example, I just want to move your data. I just want to copy my data from my storage and move it to the SQL. So I just want to do a copy. I just want to move my data. Maybe I want to call some stored procedure. Maybe I want to call some notebook. I want to call some functions. I want to define some variable. Or maybe I want to run some loop. I want to call some lookup. So these are some different tasks that I want to perform. So here activities are your tasks which exactly you are going to perform on top of your data. And here activity is going to be done on your data, that like here the same example, if I take from data lake, it will pick up and move it to the SQL. This is a one activity we have done. And here it could be multiple activities. Okay, you have a set of tasks. Maybe after copying the data, I want to call my stored procedure from the SQL. Right? So the one activity is your copy activity and the second activity is your stored procedure. So I'm going to call the second one as well. So here now your pipeline will come. Pipeline is collection of your activity. You could have one activity or you could have more than one. So pipeline is going to group all this activity together. Pipeline is nothing, it's just collection of your activity where it is going to connect with different services and then location it will take from the data set, and then here you are going to execute this pipeline. So here individual activity we are not going to run. We are going to run a pipeline. You can refer that as a job you are designing. You can refer that as a task you are designing. Here we are referring in the data factory as your pipeline. And inside this pipeline, number of activities you can place. Like the couple of activities example I have given, it could be lookup. Okay, you want to do copy, you want to do stored procedure, you want to call, or you want to run some loops. So these are different activities that are going to be placed under this pipeline. And when I'm going to execute this pipeline, it is going to execute your activities over here. So here at a pipeline level, we are going to set up your triggers. We are going to execute at a pipeline level. So as I mentioned, we have a different type of triggers available. That will be your manually trigger. You have a scheduled trigger. You have a tumbling window, and you have storage event trigger and custom triggers. These are the different type of triggers we have available on ADF and Synapse. And when we are going to trigger our pipeline, it is going to call it out your activity, and then here This activity is going to refer your dataset, and dataset is going to refer your link service. So every time each file is going to be passed it on, and here at a dataset level also you can define the parameter, and at a pipeline level also you can define the parameter. For example, I could have 10 files available and I want to build only one pipeline to move all the 10 files in different tables. So I am going to create 10 different pipeline? No, right? We are going to use only one pipeline that we are going to refer. We are going to create it dynamically and we are going to pass the parameter over here. So with the help of one single pipeline, while you have passed the parameter, you are going to load 10 different files into 10 different tables. That also we can achieve. And same here we have an integration runtime. That is also one of the service we have. One of the key component of the data factory. Integration runtime will give you a platform to run your pipeline or to execute your activities on that. Integration runtime basically where we are providing a runtime to our data factory. So we have a three type of integration runtimes IR available. That is your Azure hosted IR. Second, you have SSIS integration runtime. Third, you have a self-hosted IR. So let's talk about and discuss here when we are executing our data factory. Okay, so the first thing is like it is going to be run on something, right? Your pipe link service is also going to be connected with something. So on this integration runtime, your link service is going to be executed. So how the architecture is going to be work? So whenever we are executing your pipeline that we have talked about, so whenever we are executing your pipeline, it is going to refer to your activities. And pipeline, it is nothing just collection of your activity. Okay, an activity is the exact task which you are going to perform on your data. It could be stored procedure, copy data, or maybe lookup or something that I mentioned. And then this activity is going to refer to your dataset. Dataset is the place where you have specify the location of your data. Okay, what type of data you have? It could be a table, it could be a file, it could be a CSV file, it could be Avro, Packet. So here we are going to refer the location, and inside this data set we are going to call our link service on that we have built a data set. So this link service is basically going to be call it out or connect with your services, and this link service will be hosted on your integration runtime. So here integration runtime, as I mentioned, we have a three type. That will be your Azure hosted. So it means if your source or your destination both are available on Azure platform, any service to whom you want to connect that will be available on Azure platform itself, then you are going to use Azure hosted IR. But if you are going to pick up your data outside Azure environment, outside Azure network, maybe from some private network, maybe from on-premises, maybe from some other environment. So your source or maybe destination is not available on Azure environment, then we are going to choose your self-hosted integration runtime. Obviously, yes, you are going to set up a virtual network, application gateway, and then VPN gateway for enabling a secure connectivity between your data factory and your source, because both are in different environment. They have a different security constraint and you need to follow all this thing. So here we are going to set up a self-hosted IR that is going to help you to pick up your data from different environment. And later on, third one, we have Azure SSIS integration runtime. SSIS, as we know that we will build SSIS packages. Okay, so here if you want to execute your SSIS packages with the help of data factory, then we are going to use SSIS hosted integration runtime. This SSIS IR is basically designed to executing your SSIS packages only. So these are three different integration runtime we have. So if we see here your link service, so as I mentioned, you have a 90 plus connectors available. Okay, so I just added some reference. So you can see, you can go to your tab, and over here you can go to your manage tab and click on the link service and choose a new, and inside that you can see different connectors options you have available. Like you can see if you want to connect with MySQL DB or Data Explorer or MariaDB or Data Lake Storage Gen 2. And here we are building one link service with your Cosmos DB with SQL API. So you just need to choose what is your source or what is your service for that you want to connect. And inside that we are going to provide your link service name, and here your link service detail, that this service will belongs to which subscription for that we want to connect. Like here we are connecting with Cosmos DB, so this Cosmos DB will belongs to which service, which subscription, what is the subscription name, and what is your service name, and what is your database name. Cosmos DB is a NoSQL database, so here you are going to provide all the detail, and then at the end we are going to do the test connection. Once the connection is successful, it means your data factory is able to connect with your service, with your Cosmos DB, and then you can hit the create. Now next is your data set. So here the same way you have defined that my I want to connect with Cosmos DB. So same way you need to define that you want to build a data set for which service. So again for the Cosmos DB, I want to build. So here you can choose that what is my particular, you can define your data set name. You can define that this data set is going to be run on the link service, and then here what is the collection name. Okay, so in Cosmos DB we have a collections available that you are going to define, and at the end you are going to click OK, and now your data set is also ready. And if you see, I forgot to mention over here that when you are building the link service, we are going to specify your integration runtime also, that I mentioned that here by default auto resolve integration runtime, that is your Azure hosted IR is there, because your Cosmos DB and Data Factory both are available on Azure platform. So here we are going to choose Azure hosted integration runtime, and one Azure hosted IR are inbuilt there at the time of creating Data Factory, that is your auto resolve integration runtime. So now we have understand how we can build a link service, then how we can build a data set. Same, this is your activities. I have a 1, 2. This is my first activity, that is your data flow. And then here you can see I am going to build a pipeline while clicking on this plus icon, and I am going to call it out. Okay, this data flow is my one activity, and I am going to call it out this data flow activity under my pipeline. So I build a pipeline, I place my data flow over here, and inside this data flow I have applied a couple of different transformation. Okay, so there are 5 different transformation we have applied, and then we are calling this data flow with the help of your pipeline. This is your pipeline, and here you can do trigger also at a pipeline level, and you can do debug also at a pipeline level. Now let's understand what are different transformations we have available at a data factory level and at a Synapse level. So here you can see we are going to deal with data factory without a code. So your data factory is a code free ETL tool or ELT service. So here you can use your data flow where you do not need to write down any code. You just need to click on this plus icon, and you can add couple of different transformation over here. Like this is a derived column we have. So I want to add one more user ID column, or maybe I want to modify something. Then here I'm going to use this derived column. Same at the end, I can add more transformation, and then I can do the changes, or I can apply the transformation on my data. So here, how you are going to get started with the data flow. The first thing, you need to add a source. So build a data flow and then click on the add a source. Then after that you can define the data set, and we already talked about the data set, what it is. So here my data set name is this ASCL 400, and here I'm going to define my source data set properties. Then here same, you have another transformations available. These are your schema modifier. So for that, you want to select some specific column, you want to derive a new column, you want to do some changes in your column. So you can do changes in your schema with the help of this schema modifier. And you can define the properties at a transformation level. Like here you can see we have a revenue column that we are converting into decimal with some calculation. Okay, we are doing some changes. Same revenue target that also we are converting into decimal. So you can define your derived column property under the same. Now here these are some formatter transformation. Like you want to go with the flatten, you want to do parse. So same thing over here. You can define like this is a flatten transformation where we are going to define this is my visitor ID and this is the product and everything that is going to be done the mapping with the respective column. Okay, and the next we have some input and output transformation. So in the input and output transformation, you can do joins, you can do conditional split, exist, union. These are some examples that I have mentioned earlier as well. And now for example, I want to do some join. So here I can just simply take this join transformation over here, and then here I'm going to specify that I want to go with inner join, left join, right join, or full outer join. And then I can define what will be my key column. On that I am going to apply the join. And here you can see we are not writing any code, just on a UI basis we are providing the detail and configuring the column. And next we have a row modifier transformation. You can see there in the row modifier also we have a filter, sort, and alter row, couple of options available. So you want to filter some column, you want to sort that into ascending or in descending, you want to alter the row. So you can go with this row modifier as well. And here you can see I have choose this filter transformation. Inside that I am filtering that okay, this product ID is null. So here you can define your property also at a transformation level. Now the next is your destination. So in Data Factory we refer as a target or a destination as a sink. So if I'm defining a sink transformation, it means where I am going to store the data at the end after applying all the logic, all the transformation. So here I am going to specify same like I have a build a data set for my source, that is my data lake. Same I am going to build a data set for referring the location for my destination. And here this time I am keeping as a data warehouse. And here I am going to define the properties. You can do mapping as well, you can do setting, you can go setting, you can specify, you can do optimization also. So if we do summary, what we have talked about in this module, here we have started with the data integration of your data factory or your Synapse pipeline, where we have talked about in detail what is data factory, how it is going to work, and what are the features we have. We have seen we have a 90 plus connectors available on data factory. We have it will support hybrid or multi-cloud model. You can connect, you can do loop, pass the parameters, you can do monitoring, you can do the management, you can integrate with different services. And then we have talked about different key component also on your data factory or on Synapse. That is your link service, where you are going to provide the credential and your service detail to whom you want to connect. Next is your data set, where you are going to define the location of your service. Next is your activity, where you are going to define the task. And next we have talked about the pipeline, that is your collection of activities. And then we have talked about your triggers, where you have like a 5 different type of triggers available for executing your pipeline. And after that we have talked about parameters. And then we have talked about integration runtime also, that we have 3 types: Azure hosted, self-hosted, and Azure SSIS. And at the end we have seen how you can implement the transformation also. We have seen code-free transformation at a scale with Data Factory and Synapse Pipeline, where we have seen row modifier, schema modifier, formatter modifier, and different type of different transformations or modifier options we have available, and how we can use this logic, how we can use this transformation for apply the logic or doing the transformation over here. So I hope you really enjoy the session and you got some idea on the data factory and on the Synapse pipeline side. And thank you everyone for attending this session.